And welcome back to the Diamond Download. We got Chase Diamond. We got Cardinal Mason over here. Okay, so Chase texted me. He was gonna be a couple minutes late because he was like, "Yo, I'm on the phone right now. I'm closing this massive deal." And so we hop on here, and he was like, "Yo, let me tell you about this deal." I'm like, "No, to start the pod." He's like, "No, wait, let me just tell you no." So I know the numbers, and you don't. But Chase, what can you share about what literally just happened probably 10 minutes ago before we started the podcast?
Yeah, so at noon, so about an hour ago, Jimmy hopped on a call with these SaaS guys to, present our kind of final deal to them. And we've been going back and forth on 5 months, 10 months, 12 months, whatever. And he had just called me right before this. We were going through it. He said, "Hey, we got the verbal, we got the green light. We're gonna get the contract signed." So we basically closed a 5-month deal worth somewhere around mid six figures. And then this morning we had closed a deal for like 2 months or something. It's a lot smaller package in terms of deliverables, and that was a mid five-figure deal. So within our first 30 days of this media company, we've done some pretty substantial revenue. We basically had hit like our 3 or 6 month goal within the first 30 days. So we're pretty happy right now.
Which is insane. Just so everyone knows, because maybe they missed last week when we talked about it, but this is podcasts that you're doing with Jimmy Kim and also a newsletter.
Yeah,
So you
those are the
partnered up recently to start this new media company about email, right?
Yeah, those are the primary 2, and it's kind of evolved a little bit where, we're also selling a little bit of, like, his, event company sponsorships, and then we're also selling, like, some influencer stuff, so we kinda have, like, exclusive agreements with certain influencers now within the e-commerce space, where we are basically gonna be the kind of sole sales providers or sales pitchers of their kind of ad inventory. So, with this really big deal, it's kind of a mix of like digital, everything from social posts to newsletter ads to podcast ads to, in person, multiple sponsorships at events, and also to kind of some influencer management where we're helping them with like distribution and go to market expansion within the US. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome, dude. I I think, yeah, no, because at the last time we did a pod, you said that your Q4 goal was to do a month with 100,000 in revenue, and you flew past that shit, and it's like October.
Yeah,
Um,
we're stoked, but we're trying to like be really excited, but also be, like, in the moment, like, "Alright, next play, next play. We're gonna over deliver, but let's sign the next one." Like, it's just such
yeah,
a thrill.
don't let the momentum go. Like that's
Yeah, exactly. How are
lesson that
you
I
doing, though?
well, just real quick on momentum because it just got me thinking. Like that's sort of like the theme of the last, I want to say 10 days or so that I've had. I've had a really good last 10 days. I've been
Sick.
feeling unreal, and I do have a lot of momentum. And um, a thing that I've done in the past is like I've always kind of let that go, where it's like I have like a really good week, and then I'm just like, all right, time to chill. You know what I mean? But I don't feel that right now. I feel like I'm just kind of hitting everything at all angles, and like nothing can really stop me right now. So like, I'm feeling good. That is basically what I'm trying to say here. My last week has been great. Got another, bunch of cool stuff coming up too. So outside of business, obviously, and within business, but feeling
You
good,
did
man.
a Webby was that last week, a webinar? And that was that part of, like, kind of the lead up, the webinar, and kind of the post webinar? Is that kinda what's made for, like, the last 7 to 10 days being a great thing?
That's definitely part of it. Just like everything kind of in life. You know how I always talk about the big three, like health,
What
wealth, life.
Yeah, yeah.
Health's been great. I got like a bunch of fruit in my fridge. I had like a bunch of spoonfuls of pomegranate before this because I heard it boost testosterone. Um, Money's been good. We killed it on the levy.
Sick.
Uh, and then yeah, just dude, I've been going out a lot. Not like getting blasted or anything crazy, but like just like being very social, like being a little butterfly. Got a bunch of parties this week for Halloween. Just like excited, man. It's good.
Heck yeah. Dude, well, let's talk about today's topics. What are we talking about today?
Okay, so I wanted to give, and this is based on a coaching call that I did yesterday for my inner circle, but it's 5 money lessons. And I kind of didn't really tell you much. I kind of just said like bring two. Cause like I got five, but I'll give you three just so we have five total. Um, but I kind of wanted to like talk more to people about kind of like what happens when your, income starts to change. I think you definitely have a lot of people who are more advanced in their career listening to this, where maybe they do make 2, 3, 500K a year. You and I have both consistently been in seven figures for the last 2 or 3 years. And, I think there's a big difference. There's also a lot of people that, like, they're just starting their journey, so they don't make any money at all. And I think there's a lot that I've learned about making money and having money, about life in general, that I've learned over the last, like, 2 years, and I kinda wanna share that stuff if you're
Yeah,
open.
why don't you start? I want you to start so I can kind of follow your lead and kind of where you're taking this.
Okay. So, the first one that I'll give you is that lifestyle inflation is a good thing. And this is pretty controversial because a lot of people think that lifestyle inflation is terrible and it's like something that plagues Americans. And I think that is true. I think that where it's bad is when you are making, let's say, 100K a year for a couple of years, and then like you're cutting it close where it's like, maybe you're only saving like $300 to $500 like after taxes and after all your expenses and everything. And then you get a raise, you're making 150, and then you start to spend more and that creeps up. And then you just did all of this work to make an extra 50 grand a year. Like you gave yourself a 66% raise, or you got a raise. And then you start to spend more. And then it's going to be another, 2 years until you get any more breathing room again. That's bad. However, we are not on fixed salaries as business owners. We are always able to make more money. If you're a lean, agency owner or a freelancer, it's really easy to see jumps in income where it's like maybe 1 month you're stuck at, you're at 10K, and then something happens where it's like the next month you're at 15, and then the next month you're at like 28. That
Yeah.
happened. I mean, I have a student who went from 7K a month to 22K a month in like 3 or 4 months. And just bang, 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 just jumped up really fast. And so the reason I think that lifestyle inflation, if you can support it, is virtuous is because I feel like a lot of people sort of live these like blank slate lives where it's like everyone kind of drives the same car. Everyone lives in the same sort of apartment or house. Everyone has like the same three hobbies. Everyone kind of has like a clone of one another's lives. And that doesn't mean you have to have any crazy flashy stuff, but it means like, what are you doing to make your environment and your life more custom to you? And as you make more money, you have like a mini putt thing in your backyard. I think that is a perfect example of something that is so you, that makes so much sense for you to have and spend money on. Because it's like, who else? I don't have a mini putt in my backyard, you know what I mean? But I do have a music studio
That's
in my
sick.
in my office over there, and I have, a cool car, and I spend money on, certain like, I've made my life more custom as I've made more money, and I feel like that's a thing that you should strive for because you're only here for a short period of time. You might as well, like, be able to do whatever you want and have what you want in life without consequences, or without compromising, is what I meant to say. So I think that in general, if you can support it and make more money as you go, lifestyle inflation is a good thing. You should spend more money on your environment.
Cool. I like that. I'm gonna go spend more money. I like that. That's some good advice.
Any thoughts or anything?
No, I like that. It's interesting. Like I've definitely, I guess, been spending more as I've made more, but like nothing flashy. I don't know. As you have more kids and as you have more stuff, things just cost more. So I don't think like I've done like anything crazy compared to like my income increase. But I hear you, right? Like you want to have enjoyment. You want to have things that are specific or unique to you. It's all about experiences, right? It's not just about things, but like can you, for example, I know you like to fly private. I've never done that. I've never even flown first class, right? But like that to me isn't that exciting, but for you it is, right? But for me, going on like a golf trip somewhere is really exciting, and to you might not be. So I think like doing something that's your own unique flair and flavor, kind of like you talked about with me, it's the putting green, with you, it's the music studio. So I can get behind that one. I like that.
Cool. What you got?
What do I got? Yeah, I don't know. I think that what I was thinking about is something like really timely. So we just started the podcast talking about how we just closed tons and tons of business, and that's really, really exciting. But, a couple weeks ago, there was an income source that I had that, paid me, let's say, low six figures a year consistently. And that income source for the foreseeable future is like severed. It's cut. It's off. It's out of my hands. It wasn't something I was super involved in. And it kind of happened for some other people as well within the, let's call it the project. So I was like pretty bummed at first. I was like, dang, this is such a bummer. Um, and then I started thinking about like, okay, well now I just got to think 2x bigger or 3x bigger to not only replace that, but like to make up for the loss that I felt. And that's really what drove like these deals that we just closed on this new media company. It was just like, all right, I lost it over here. How can I get resourceful and figure out where to make it up and then some elsewhere? So I think for me, like the biggest mindset thing was like, the temporary loss, but just temporary. For a long time, I think earlier in my career, that would have probably like paralyzed and handicapped me for a long time, like mood, emotions, kind of outlook, motivation, like, everything, momentum. So I think for me, just like being in a position where don't get too sad about the losses and you get excited and celebrate the wins, but only to a point, right? Like this deal, it's hot off the press of an hour ago. Like I'm freaking stoked, but as soon as this call is over, it's like back to work. Like how do we go find the next deal that will get us 5 or 6 figures? So I guess for me, that's kind of what I had was just like in this moment, I really felt this drag. But then, as soon as that happened, I told my wife, "Hey, don't worry, I'm gonna make this up and then some." And it's been like 2 weeks, right? And now we're in the green. So that was kind of the first thing that was top of mind for me.
That's awesome, dude. I think that's such a good one because number one, I think as an entrepreneur, you have to understand that money is up and it's down. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? I kind of stole that from a Russ song. He has a song called "Put You on Game." I don't know if you know who Russ is, but he has a line that I always think about. It's the money is up and it's down. It's just how it goes, and it's true. Um, and then he also goes on to say you can't buy a car and a chain if you don't have a home, which I definitely don't agree with. But uh, regardless, I think it is good to show yourself that you're capable of doing that and bouncing back really fast. Because, like, yeah, you're gonna have weeks or months in business where like shit sucks. It is what it is. You as the entrepreneur, as the founder, as a money maker have to respond accordingly. You can't just like sit there. It's not a job, you know what I mean? Like it's all up to you. There's no other people that can help you out. It's only you. And it's good to be able to prove to yourself that you can do that. I think that's super powerful. It's like it's kind of what adds to your aura. You know what I mean? Like the older business guys that you and I kind of look up to, they glow. There's, like, something about them where it's like, "Man, that guy's, like, magnetic." Like, yes, he's wise and he knows what he's doing and he's got a bunch of money and he's super like, he has abundance, but also part of that sort of aura that comes from someone that is super successful is the fact that they've had to do what you just did now and what I've had to do a handful of times in my career, probably dozens or hundreds of times. They have to save a situation and prove like, "Okay, I need to come up with 100,000 somehow in the next, like, 72 hours. How am I gonna do it?" And they pull it off. Like, there's it's crazy. And so I think that's a really good one that people need to understand is that number 1, it's all up to you, and number 2, you never really know where opportunity is gonna come from because that felt probably kinda random to you, right?
Yeah, was not expecting it, and then it's how you recover and how you bounce back. What is I guess, the third one overall, but what's your second one that you have?
My second one, okay. Let's go in here. Um, okay, so I have this belief that settling is selfish. So, um, okay, I don't know about you, Chase, but I consider myself a pretty charitable person. And like I shouldn't even say this publicly because then I'm just gonna get bombarded with this. But like I get a lot of just in like people emailing me asking for help for like a certain cause. Like they'll send me a GoFundMe link or something like that. And I'm usually down to just like, send a couple bucks, just depending on what it is. There's like a classroom in Africa that I sent some money to.
That's
There was
cool.
like $1,000 goal, and I was able to help them hit that. And I
That's
think that
cool.
that's a thing that a lot of people don't really think about when it comes to making money and getting rich. Is like, who can you affect outside of just you? And so, like, you have your family now. I'm sure when you were like my age, or well, no, I think you already were married, had a kid at my age, but um, when you were 23 or 24 and you were just starting your business career, you probably thought like, 15, 20K a month, 25K a month, like, I'm good. Like, I got everything I need. I can get my apartment. I can have a little car if I want. Like, I can go out to eat 3 times a week. Like, that's all I need. Therefore, I can kind of relax and stop making money. However, it gets to a point where you now have people you have to take care of. I have not kids or a wife, but I have people in my life that I definitely need to take care of. And if I don't make more money, then they're screwed. And a lot of people settle at that number. Let's just say 20 to 30K a month because it's like, this is surplus for me. I don't need more. But it's like one day you'll have to take care of other people. And also, like, what are you doing to sort of like give back to the community? Like, whether it's local to you or to the world in general. It's like, there's a lot of people that can use your help. You scroll TikTok, you see people on live, like, some grandmother who lives in the Middle East who has like one eye and is missing an arm. And like, they're begging for donations on TikTok. It's like, can you afford to, like change that person's life? I feel like people that sort of sit at a certain level and are like, "Okay, I'm good here. I don't need to make more than 20K a month." yeah, for you maybe, but there's so much that you could do that you're not even thinking about.
I like that. Yeah, it's like just broaden the horizon. It's like maybe you don't need it necessarily today, but yeah, you need it in the future. So why don't take advantage of the opportunity when you can? And I think like for the younger people, and I guess for anyone, right? It's like before you have the family, the wife and the kids and all these the mortgage and all these things, it's like, can you double down now and just set yourself up for the future? Like, dude, I'm so happy I worked so hard and hustled in my early to mid 20s because now, not that I don't work hard, but it's a little bit more kind of on my time and on the things I wanna do. And I am a huge believer in giving to charitable things, and, right, like, all the wealthiest people, instead of them, working at a charity themselves, right, they all work to make money to be able to donate and have funds and have charities and stuff, so, yeah, I think the more that you can do for yourself and then the excess you can donate or allocate to others, and maybe you have a monthly or a semi-annual or an annual kind of budget that you say, "Hey, maybe it's 1,000, maybe it's 5,000, maybe it's 10,000." Anything that comes up, a friend or family member that needs something, if it's something that seems legitimate without getting too much into it, I'm gonna donate, right? I'm gonna help someone out when I can. Maybe it's going to, the grocery store, and if there's a family that's trying to buy food that can't afford it, right? It's like you have that in your fund that you're allocating, right, every single month or year to just help people out. And I know you've talked about this before, like with tipping, right? Like, and you just believe in like the good karma that comes around when you tip, right? Like you just give it out there and the money flows internal and kind of whatnot. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I try to, I do a quarterly event where I speak and I get paid to speak. And every time I do it, I allocate a percentage of that speaking fee to the charity for my Crohn's disease, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. So every quarter, at the very least, I'm doing that. My friends put on like charity golf tournaments. Like I try to do a bunch of the charity golf tournaments because it's like pay to golf and then you pay to also have a charity. It's like a win-win.
Mhm. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. And it's a cause that's, like, near and dear to you. I don't really have anything like that. I wish I did, but yeah, I think, like, it definitely helps when you can see the fruit of your labor, where it's like, back when I was in school, like, they used to make us donate to this charity called United Way.
Yeah.
You know, Unite I don't even
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what
They're a big one.
I don't even know what they do. I don't know if they're a good charity. I don't know if they're legit. I don't know if their founder or their CEO makes 50 million a year. No clue. I don't know. And so like I would, send in like $1 or $2, whatever, so we could like wear non-uniform clothes at school. And I'd be like, all right, whatever. I did not care. And they'd be like, oh, we raised all this money. And we'd be like, okay, like this, how does this affect us? But like for tipping specifically, that's why I love it so much because you can literally hand someone money for a job well done and they light up and you see them next time. You know what I mean? Like there's this one, it's so funny you mentioned that because me and Jimmy today, we were at lunch. Jimmy and I both frequent this spot in Miami. I won't even say the name because I don't want people to go there. But there's one server named Derek who like, I don't know how he got himself in the situation, but he's got way too many kids. And he works as a server at this restaurant and he makes probably the majority of his money off of Jimmy and I. Jimmy and I both went on dates on Friday. I was with somebody and then Jimmy was with a girl, like his girl and her friend. And between the two of us, this guy made like $2,000 that night just because he's like good at what he does and because we love him and he always takes care of us and stuff like that. And that you directly see. You know what I mean? Like his kids are gonna get fed because of that. And I think it's important to be able to see it because it makes you want to do it more.
Yeah, and you clearly have a lot of pride in it, right? Like, it makes you feel really good, and someone else feels really good, so it's like this kind of this universal circle of life where everyone feels good as a result, and, for you, it's also probably a write-off, so it's a win-win-win.
Not
Um,
not that one. That was
Know
it.
that one?
But let's hear your other one.
I think the last one for me, and then I think you had one more, um, I think when it comes to money and stuff, it's like you can only be so good at so few things, right? Like my wife and my brothers, my family always make fun of me. They're like, "Dude, you're good at email marketing, you're good at social media, and that's kind of about it." I'm good at a select few other things, but there's not a whole lot of things I'm good at, right? I'm not good at taxes. I'm not good at investing. I'm not good at X, Y, and Z. So I think for me, like I learned the hard way with like making really stupid, bad personal investments just because I thought I was super smart and I read something that Jim Cramer said and didn't realize that he was actually a meme. Jim Cramer, the guy on TV that always tells you to buy certain stocks.
Yeah.
Just because he was on TV when I was younger, I thought he was like a god. Clearly not from experience, but I think like there's no shame in just finding people that do this for a living. Like, if I look at, like, my personal portfolio versus a portfolio that's managed for me, I'm, like, down big on mine, and I'm up big on the other. So I think, like, the biggest thing for me was just, like, find good people and let them do their job, and I think that's applicable, right, for anything, for copy MBA, for Inner Circle, for the businesses I run. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, there are people that have certificates and degrees and, designations in specific things because they've put in the time, and frankly, I haven't, right? Like, I watch something on TV, I'm like, "Cool, that sounds great. Let's go put money into it." And it's such a stupid idea. So I'm a huge believer in, like, having financial advisors, having good accountants, and having good wealth managers, like, let them do their thing, right? Let them share in the upside and let them do their thing, and it's been really cool to see. I've got this one guy, I think I might talked about him before. He's my wife's cousins, and, my father-in-law works with him, and he basically does weekly trading for us, and his goal every week is to make 0.5% to 1%, and over the past, like, year and a half or 2 years of working with him, I've made, like, 25 or 35% on my money each year, and it just keeps growing, and I just keep giving him more, and, like, he sends me texts every Friday with, like, where we're at. I'm like, "Dude, the amount that you made me in a week is the amount that I lose every day on my own stuff." So it's just, like, it's crazy.
Dude, that's funny. Yeah, no, I firmly believe in, like, in outsourcing stuff, and I do wanna expand on that, but, like, that was the last point I had. It's very similar. It's not the same, but should I just kinda go into it, and then we can jam
Yeah.
on both points at the same time?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so a lot of people will wonder. I've been pretty public with my numbers, like, what our revenue is and also kinda what I take home, almost to a fault. And a lot of people say, like, where the fuck does that money go? Like, how do you even spend that much money?" Like, a lot of people are like, "Well, like, if I made 20K a month, that would be all I need because, like, apartment is 3K, car is a grand a month, all
Yeah.
in, food is 2K. Like, where else would the money go?" And the amount that, like, me and my friends, and probably you too, spend on convenience is ridiculous because money really does solve most problems to a degree, right? There's a lot of things that it can't do. It can't obviously bring back dead people, but like can, treat pretty much any illness. Like you have that over somebody else where it's like somebody who makes $1,000 a month or they're on welfare, like might not be able to get the same health care that someone like, Jim Cramer would, right?
Yeah.
And so if you go through and think about all of the problems that you have in your life, there is almost certainly a way to outsource that or spend money so that it doesn't have to exist anymore. And so like, um, I get my house cleaned on a weekly basis. I spend an exorbitant amount of money on like DoorDash, Uber Eats because I don't want to have to go and get food. I buy a new phone like every 4 to 6 months just because if it starts getting slow, I'm just gonna be pissed off and I just like won't be able to do what I need to do. Uh, I won't do my own laundry. When I moved here, like, I paid someone to just like, yes, to move me, but also, like, I didn't wanna pack up my own stuff. I don't wanna go through my cupboards and put all my, like, glasses and boxes and pack it up with papers. I'm not doing that. And then also, like, I have other examples that I told my students yesterday where it's like, that you make fun of me for flying private so much, but it's like the rage that I feel in my stomach when I go to check American Air and I don't see a flight time that I want from like, let's say LA to Miami and there's no first class where it's like I would have to wake up at 4 a.m. so I can get to the airport for 6 and board a 7 a.m. flight. I'm not doing that. Gonna just get jet. It just makes more sense. And if we're all thrown in, like it's not negligible, but it's a amount of money that I'm comfortable spending.
Yeah.
I think, like, I love outsourcing stuff. I, like, just gave my EA, Abby, more responsibility, like, I just gave
I saw
her
your tweet about how, like, having an EA was, like, the best thing you ever done.
yeah, like, I now spend, like she makes way too much money, but it's worth it because, like, I don't mind spending it, and she does a lot to, like, get this done, you know what I mean? So, I think that outsourcing things as much as you can is like the key to being able to number one, make more money, and number two, like give yourself some quality of life back. And so, yeah, like in your case, more business stuff where it's like, don't do your own taxes, don't invest your own money, have someone you trust do that. And in my case, it's a lot more personal stuff where it's like, there's just a lot of shit I just don't want to do. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
hire
it's like
someone to come with a BB gun and start picking off all these birds that you keep. Do you? We talked about this last time. 50. 50 hawks, whatever these birds are. I'm just gonna hire someone to come and just like fire them all down. I don't want to
Yeah,
see them
it's
anymore.
every time I see the birds flying, dang, that's crazy. Yeah, dude, it's basically like, how do you leverage your time and resources to remove stress? Stress is the worst thing for humans, right? I've just seen like what stress can do like on someone's body and their health and their mental well-being. So it's like whatever you find stress in, like can you find someone and you don't need to spend, ridiculous amounts of money. I think there's different buckets, but can you find people to take things off your plate that's within their job description, right? Like I've had awful accountants for years. The one that you introduced me to, he's been fantastic. Like he's been cleaning up so much stuff for me that's really saved me. And every year, tax season is so stressful for me for weeks and months because I always felt like my old lady was doing it wrong, and now he's doing it right. So just just paying for people, and it doesn't have to be a lot of money to do things that they are good at and that you're bad at. Just don't have an ego. Like that's been my whole thing is drop the ego, let people do their job, do yours, and get your time back, remove your stress, and live a good life, right?
100%. Yeah. The wrong hires, the wrong like personal hires can really mess your life up. Like the difference between a $300 a year accountant and Adam, who I've probably so far paid like 20 grand this year. Um, Huge difference. Like you get access to different types of people. The difference between a 300 or let's say like a $25 an hour personal trainer versus like a $150 an hour personal trainer, huge difference. You could, go down the list. Like you just get access to more and better as you go up. So like, yeah, you can do it without spending a ton of money and still outsource that stuff, but like it doesn't get real and it doesn't get super convenient until like you have someone who's so good that you don't have to micromanage them. You just
Yeah.
trust them to do what they do. You know what I mean? Like I want the best in the world for everything. I don't want to have to settle for any of the people in my life, any of the things. I mean, I like this is why I fired my interior designer. Like, same sort of thing. I would have used that as an example, but she was not good enough, so I got rid of her. Um, Peace. I hope she sees this.
Oh,
Uh,
man.
yeah, man, that is a huge thing, and, like, I will continue to spend more on that. I don't need, a crazy apartment, like, this apartment's alright, you know what I mean? It's technically a penthouse because it's top floor, but it's not a penthouse. It doesn't have,
Yeah.
like, its own, 3,000 square foot balcony. I don't need like a fleet of cars. I have like 2 that I love. I'm good. I will continue to spend money on people and things that can make my life as easy as possible so I can do what I love and maximize my time throughout the day.
Heck yeah. This was a different episode, but I liked it. This was good. I didn't know where it was gonna go, but I like this one.
Yeah, moral of the story is, Chase, it's time to get rich. No
Let's
more
do it.
no more playing around, dude. We gotta get you on a PJ sometime in the next 12 months.
12 months, okay.
You,
Yeah,
me
I'll come hop on yours once you buy one. I'll come hop on yours.
I'm not buying a jet. You, me, and
Yeah,
Jimmy can can fly wherever we want. We can go on a little vacation, boys trip.
cool. Let's do it. Let's do it, brother. Well, this was a great one. We'll catch you guys soon.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you guys next Friday. All right. Bye.